Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. After everything Garp has done and everything he stood for, I don't think there's anything more powerful or symbolic than seeing him face to face with Luffy after all that sacrifice. If we really stop to think about it, from the moment he stepped into Hachinosu with the sword members, you could already feel like it was his final mission. But then he survives. And not only does he survive, he gets captured by the Blackbeard pirates, and no one from the Marines comes to rescue him. That's right, no one. No admiral, no backup vice admirals, no official rescue mission. And that's heavy, because Garp is the hero of the Marines. And even with that title, he was just left behind. That's the moment I think everything starts to shift. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. To me, the chapter that marks this abandonment is chapter 1088, when Sword decides to take action and Garp joins them. From that point, it's clear he's not exactly following orders anymore. He's doing what he believes is right, even if that means stepping away from the Marine system. And when he faces Kuzan, Aokiji, that's not just a fight, it's a conversation between two paths that have crossed again, but now as enemies. And Garp tells Kuzan the hard truth, that he always did whatever he wanted. And I think in that moment, Garp is telling himself the same thing, that now he'll follow what he believes in, regardless of whether it's for the Marines or not. When we see Garp frozen and captured, it really feels like he was ready to lose everything, but not to be forgotten. And yet, he was. While the world keeps spinning, with Egghead in chaos, the Holy Knights on the move, and Imusama giving out strange orders involving demons, abysses, and marks, Garp is just there, locked away, alone, like some old symbol no one cares about anymore. That's where I think the turning point begins, because if there's one person who would never forget Garp, it's Luffy. And not just because they're related, but because Luffy never abandoned the people he loves. He did everything he could for Ace. He tried to save Sabo when he thought he was lost, and he'd do the same for Garp without thinking twice. And maybe that's exactly what's going to happen. Maybe Kobe, now more determined than ever, goes to Luffy. Maybe he tells him what really happened at Hachinosu, that Garp held the line so Sword and the slaves could escape, and that he was left behind. Maybe Luffy hears that and says, then let's go get him, like someone who jumps on a ship and sails out without a second thought, because that's who Luffy is. He's always been like that. And I think the reunion between Luffy and Garp is going to be way more emotional than people expect. Garp saw his grandson become what he fought so hard to prevent, a pirate. And now he's going to see that same grandson do what the Marines wouldn't. He'll see that it wasn't an admiral or Sakazuki or the world government's fleet that came to save him. It was the Straw Hats. That's going to hit hard. Maybe that's the moment Garp realizes the flag he served under for so many years no longer represents what he believes in. Maybe he realizes that the sense of justice he's always carried in his heart fits better with Luffy's idealistic chaos than with the authoritarian Marines of today. It's not like Garp would become a pirate, not at all. But I think he'll do exactly what Kuzan said. Live in the now. He'll stop trying to save the Marines and start focusing on saving the world in whatever way he can. And if that means teaming up with Luffy, then so be it. He could become a kind of direct ally. Not a straw hat, obviously, but a force that fights alongside them. Maybe he becomes a protector of Elbaf or uses his experience to train the new generation that this era is bringing. He might even fight alongside Dragon, even if he never officially joins the Revolutionary Army. And the Marines? They'll pretend not to notice. Or maybe they'll brand Garp a deserter, like they've done with others before. Maybe Sakazuki will try to preserve the institution's image by claiming Garp lost his mind. But in the end, the world will see what really happened. They'll see that the hero of the Marines was saved by pirates and now stands with them. And that will make people think. Because if even Garp gave up on the Marines, who else might be thinking about doing the same? Garp and Luffy's reunion has the potential to be one of the most emotional moments in the final arc. And unlike what happened with Ace, this time Luffy will save him. This time he'll win. Maybe now he's strong enough to stop someone important from being lost. And maybe Garp, who was always the tough mentor, will finally say he's proud of his grandson, not in spite of him being a pirate, but exactly because of the kind of pirate he's become. And that changes everything. So how could this actually happen? First, Garp could become the bridge between the Straw Hats and Sword. Sword is already a fringe organization inside the Marines, made up of agents who give up their official rights to act with freedom. In other words, they're the part of the Marines that still has some heart. If Garp escapes, he could be the link that unites them and Luffy's crew. It wouldn't need to be an official alliance, just a trust pact. You do what needs to be done and we'll cover you. Kobe would be key in that, of course. He already admires Luffy, and seeing his mentor team up with the Straw Hats would be the ultimate proof that justice can exist outside the walls of the world government. Second, Garp could lead an independent front against Imu's holy knights. After all, who has more reason to fight the true villains of the world than a man who's watched his entire justice system become corrupted? He could be one of the first to really call it out and say, this war isn't between pirates and marines, it's between those who rule from the shadows and those who still believe in freedom. And coming from Garp, that line would shake the world, because Garp is still a legend. Even if people have lost faith, he still has his name, he still has his legacy, and if he speaks, the world will listen. Third point, Garp could become the catalyst for an internal marine rebellion. With Sengoku practically retired, Fujitora constantly clashing with higher-ups, Smoker still trying to figure out his place in the world, and Kobe rising in importance, Garp could be the spark that ignites a real fracture within the marine system. Just imagine this. Garp appears publicly alongside Luffy and declares that the world government is behind the destruction of islands, the manipulation of kingdoms, and the absolute control of information. That Imu's knights are literal monsters, and that the Marines stayed silent. If he does that, he breaks the wall of fear that keeps the world quiet. He could make Marines across the globe start to question who they're really serving. That could be the beginning of what might be one of the most anticipated parts of One Piece's ending, the collapse of the world government's military structure. And of course, there's a fourth point, an even more personal one. Garp could become the emotional support Luffy never had from an older figure. Luffy lost Ace. Sabo is far away. Dragon is still a mystery. But Garp could be there, present, teaching, protecting, guiding, in his own way, rough but caring. Garp could be the last emotional pillar of the D family. He could look at his grandson and finally say something like, I didn't get it before, but now I see. You're the kind of pirate the world needed. And coming from someone who spent his whole life fighting against pirates, that would bring a massive emotional arc to a close. Not just for Luffy, but for Garp himself. In fact, this unexpected alliance could also help prepare Luffy for the biggest fight of his life, facing Imu. Because fighting a villain like Imu, someone who stands above everything and everyone, isn't just about physical strength. It's about legacy, about morality. And while Luffy may be the heir to Joy Boy, he's still young, still impulsive. Having someone like Garp at his side, someone who's seen it all, who's fought the worst of the pirates, but also the worst of the nobility, could be the balance he needs. A war advisor, a protector of the weak, a human shield. And yes, Garp can still fight. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.